Well, Eastern Oregon, we get another opportunity to play them. Obviously, playing them last year, they're a much different team this year. They shoot it much, much better. They're averaging over 100 points a game, and certainly, regardless of what level you're at, like that's very, very impressive. So. They really want to get out in transition. They let it fly. I mean, they're going to get out, and if they have an open three in transition, it's going up. And so they put a lot of pressure on their opponents that way. They're a very good offensive rebounding team, 11.5 offensive boards a game, which I believe they lead the NAI in field goal percentage, 19 assists a game. Number 25, their big kid, who's a 7-footer, who hurt us a little bit last year, and then he got in some foul trouble. Schletsky is shooting 72% from the field. And then number 15 for them, McCullough, who did not play against us last year, is scoring over 20 a game, and he had a game this year of 41 points. So he's got the ultimate green light. So we're going to have to be on point with our position defense, and then, offensively, or them defensively, expect anything. They've played all kinds of different zones. They played, obviously, man-to-man. And so the good news is you get to this time of year, we're 14 games in, we're almost to the halfway point. We've seen about anything and everything, so nothing is too new from that respect. You just got to be ready to go and be sharp. And anytime you come off a Christmas break, it's kind of different. Usually we have 5 days off. This year it was 4. It's good to get the guys away both mentally and physically, get a chance to get your legs back. But you always can tell who's been in the gym a little bit over Christmas break and who just took 4 days straight of vacation. So that's always something to look at. Last year we got off to a slow start against these guys, the first 9 to 10 minutes or so, and then we kind of started to take care of business. So that's always a big thing, when you come back from Christmas break that way. But we're excited to be at home. Only our third home game since a week before Thanksgiving, if I'm not mistaken. So it does feel good to finally be back in the Spectrum, and hopefully we can finish the 2019 year off on a good note.
And it's always probably important to play some kind of game before you go back to conference play, rather than just going back to conference play.
Yeah, especially when you start January 1st. It'd be one thing if it was a league game and both league teams, this was their first game back. But certainly if you're not playing until January 1 or January 2 or December 31st or whatever, and obviously it's January 1st for us, you want to get a game in, and it just so happened for us it's a non-Division I game, but it's a game we felt like we need to get in.
Is Demetrius okay?
Yeah, he should be fine. Probably won't play tomorrow, but it's not. I think I said it after. It's nothing to do with his injury this summer, so that's good news. So he'll go back to the doctor here soon and should be fine.
Coach, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to ask, can we get a statement from you on Derek, the Aggie fan who passed away?
Yeah, Derek, that was a tough one. He's just kind of the definition of an Aggie, right? And you guys have known a lot longer than me, but he was just always the guy that was at the weekly radio show. Anytime we had the coaches luncheon, or he was in the front row, and as soon as they'd open up for questions, his hand was right up, and he always had a great question. And but he always had well thought out questions, but then he always had his side, was always a little bit shaded towards the Aggies, which was a true Aggie fan. But not only all that, I'll just always remember him being in the front row of the herd and getting everybody into the game and doing our, you go around and how we do it with our guys and going around, and the thing I'll always remember is not only his passion and energy, but the big bear hugs he would always give, and literally my back would crack in 3 spots every time, and him always asking if I could buy him a sandwich, but just little subtleties like that. And so to hear that heartbreaking news and see all the people responding, and whether it was tweeting or whatever message it was that got out there, he certainly made an impact on so many people and in so many lives, and that was a tough one to see, to say the least.
Thank you.
That was tough. Can you go back just a little bit of how important that trip was for your team, do you think, to win those 2 games like you did?
It was a great trip, and two games that obviously just came down to the wire, and we knew that was going to be we knew December was going to be a very, very difficult period, but just kind of coming off a difficult loss, the week on Saturday before. I thought, and we knew South Florida was going to be tough. Florida State had to go on a 15-1 run to beat them on a neutral floor. So they're a tough team, tremendous. Down by 4 with a minute and a half to go, to find a way to get that to overtime and then win in overtime on the tip-in says a lot. And on a neutral venue in Houston Rockets Arena, and then to be able to follow that up and kind of validate that win against Florida, who is the most athletic team we've faced. I mean, LSU is really athletic, but Florida is a different, and we just kind of hung around, and especially to be able to find a way to win that game with Neemias going down, and we threw the 4-guard lineup out there, and Bean guarding, Blackshear. It wasn't always the prettiest game, but we just found a way to make plays at the right time, and I thought Sam had a really, really good game, and obviously Bean had a great game. So it was good to see. I think our offense is kind of coming around. We're starting to make some shots. So what a great road trip, and to be able to do it against 2 quality opponents on neutral floors and with all that travel, I think says a lot about the character of our guys. And Christmas break came at the perfect time for us to kind of try to get healthy and get our legs back.
But the 2 wins are important down the road for your team and what you want to do and things too.
Yes, to be 12-2 right now, and those, one of those games has a chance to be a quad 1 game, where it's just outside of that right now. I think Florida was 56th in the net today, if I remember right. So, but those are resume, building wins that the NCAA will look at, if it comes down to an at-large possibility. But and then just to keep momentum going forward, right, into the last game of non-conference play, and momentum going into Christmas. And because that was a grueling trip. You've gone 6 days and a lot of miles that were involved with it. But I just thought our guys really handled everything very, very well and had the right mindset from the beginning. And fortunately for us, we were able to pull it out.
What's the status of Kuba? I saw that he was on the bench dressed for the Florida.
Yeah, he's been dressing, I think, the last two, maybe 3 games. And so hopefully he'll be on the floor very soon.
Trevin played pretty well.
Trevin was big time.
In that game.
We don't beat Florida without Trevin. He gave us great minutes early on. We decided, when Neemi's first sub, we threw in Trevin at the 5, and he had a great run. Really played with a lot of force, got a couple offensive rebounds, blocked a couple shots, and altered a few others. And he was all over the place, and gave us great minutes again in the second half. Obviously, when after Neemi went down, but some of those guys have a tough job because they show up every day ready to roll, and they don't always know when they're going into the game. They don't always know if they're even going to play in the game. Didn't even play against South Florida, and that's just more of a, quite frankly, it's kind of a feel thing. Like, I don't always make up my mind before the game, who's going to, but you just kind of roll with the punches and who's playing well. And same thing with Bean playing the 5. Like, that wasn't predetermined. It's just kind of, you roll with it, Neemi goes down, and now you're just kind of putting guys in maybe some positions that they're not always used to, but give them credit to be ready to roll when their number is called, and so it's exciting to see. Trevin's really showing flashes of certainly getting better, and he can really impact the game, especially on the defensive end.